Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So I've been getting a lot of questions lately about the holy month of Ramadan, how to train under Ramadan, what should a person eat, when to train, after or before iftar, break fast, and what to do. So just a quick disclaimer, I am not a doctor and that is no surprise to anyone. I am just a guy with a lot of training experience in both hypertrophy and powerlifting training who happens to fast on the holy month. So always consult your doctor firsthand, and especially if you have a kidney or liver problem. And now that that's out of the way, let's dive straight into things. So I split up things into two categories: if you're doing a powerlifting program or if you're doing a bodybuilding program, like what are you training with. So let's start with the powerlifting stuff. In the case of powerlifting, I would not recommend that you train while fasting. Training while fasting in powerlifting is dangerous. I for sure have never tried it. The thing is that training while fasting, you will be dehydrated. And when you're dehydrated, like the probability of you injuring your joints or muscles is very high. Point number two, doing the big three safely is the most important thing for you as a powerlifter, as usual. So let's say it's your main bench day. On that day, the most important thing and all your energy and focus should be and time spent in you benching safely, hitting the weight you should be hitting safely. After that, you might end up have to cut out some accessory movements, some optional bodybuilding movements. That won't be the end of the world right now because you're fasting, and the main thing is that you did your main bench or your main deadlift or your main squat. And remember guys, hydration is key. It's a must. So try to hydrate as much as possible. Just keep drinking water as much as possible while training. Not to the extent that you puke, but although it's important. Same thing goes for when you want to break fast at iftar. Drink a lot of water. Try to hydrate. Try to at least like the time between your breakfast and the time you want to go and train, try to have at least went to the bathroom and got 2 clear pisses down. Now, in the case of bodybuilding, if you for some reason decide to train while fasting, I would recommend that you cut out 1/3 of your sets on all moves. And you might end up cutting half of it with time. So let's say it's the first week of Ramadan. If you were doing like 4 times 10 on all moves, I would suggest you do 3 times 10. So just remove an entire set on all moves. And with time, you might end up cutting even more. Now, in the case of after iftar, so like you decided to go and train after you have had iftar, after you have breakfast, you decide to go and train. At the first week, I would suggest that you keep the volume the same, but remove one exercise from that day of training. So let's say it's your chest and triceps day, I don't know. So everyone stops with bench, then you go to example to incline bench, and then you do pec deck, and then you do another type of fly exercise. What I would recommend you doing is removing that final exercise. Just remove it, cut it out completely from your training under Ramadan. Same thing goes if you're training your back, shoulders, or legs. Just cut out an entire move. Now, which exercise or move you should pick? Usually it should be the last thing you have on your program, the last thing you usually train with, because like we try to keep the most important stuff at the beginning. And if, let's say, by your second week of Ramadan, you feel that this is too much volume, you can't handle it, you feel too tired, you're not recovering as much as you used to do, then what you should do is start cutting down on the volume. So let's say you were doing 4 times 10, strictly go down to 3 times 10. Now, when it comes to the case of cardio, if you are doing cardio strictly to lose weight and happen to do weight training as well, then keep your cardio at the beginning of your training sessions and cut your entire training volume in half. Now, some final notes to finish off the video, guys. Now, I know that the case of fasting differs from country to country and region. Some countries have a longer fasting period, some have shorter, some have a bit hotter weather, some a bit colder. But usually when it comes to training, it's gonna look the same. If you happen to be in a country where fasting, you only have a window of eating which is less than 6 hours, then I would recommend that you seriously study your volume and take it easy while training. Remember, guys, in Ramadan, this is not the time to hit new PRs at all, and this is not the time to try new things out. Stick with the things you were used to doing. And if you are training bodybuilding, do not think about jumping over to powerlifting. Your joints and muscles will not handle it in this month. Now, if you were training powerlifting and want to transition to bodybuilding, that's totally okay. Just remember, keep your volume moderated because your body won't be used to handling high volumes. And please, if you are not used to do long cardio sessions or any at all, don't start now. It is not magic. You will not lose more weight just because you're fasting and doing cardio. And guys, at the end of the month, if you feel like this is all too much and you feel like you're too tired, you are not recovering as you're supposed to do, it's totally okay to skip the last week of Ramadan. We are talking in the case of training, like not training in the last week of Ramadan. That kind of depends on from person to person, but skipping the last week won't hinder your progress, your overall progress. And in the end, I wish you all a happy Ramadan Mubarak to all my Muslim brothers and sisters out there. And if you are not fasting but were curious and interested to know about these informations, then thank you for coming in. And if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to write them down in the comment section, and consider subscribing and leave a like.